Hello and welcome back, and today I'm going to be speaking to you about all of the jobs that you can do in November. And there's not that many actually, but there's still enough to keep you busy as there was last month. But there's definitely a lot less than there was in the summer and last month. And before we get started, I'd just like to make sure that you've gone down below, hit the subscribe button as well as the little bell icon to make sure you're notified next time I upload a video. And what I'm doing first actually here, which is something that you can do, is picking beans that have gone a bit dry and funny, and I'm putting them in my wheelbarrow, my new wheelbarrow actually that I won in a giveaway, that has these buckets that fit perfectly in it. And I'm just picking these so I can save a bit of money on seeds next year, and maybe, you never know, these might be better than the ones that you buy from the shop. And this is mixed beans here, so they're not just runner beans. I've got some climbing French beans, which are purple like this, and I'm just sort of picking them, and I'm going to put them in there in the bucket, and I'll dry them inside in a windowsill or something, and then once they're dry I'll take them out of their pods, and then I will put them in an envelope ready for next year. And actually something that you can do, which you could have been doing for a few months actually, is clearing the beds, which is what I'm going to do now to pick these runner beans. And I'm not going to do it today because I haven't got enough time, but I'm going to do it another day. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to pull the roots out, I'm just going to cut the stalk at the base, and then I'm going to take all the canes out and all the stuff that's on the canes. And the reason I'm not going to cut or pull the roots out of the ground is because the legumes and the beans and the pea family have all got on their roots little nodules that have nitrogen fixing bacteria in them, which adds nitrogen back into the soil. So that's why it's really important not to pull the roots out, as well as the risk of disturbing the soil structure. And something else that you can keep doing as well is removing yellowing leaves from brassicas to keep them strong and healthy throughout winter, ready for when you pick them. And that's one of the main things that you'll be harvesting this month, is the brassica family. And it's really important that you keep the bottoms of the plants free, as well as picking off yellowing and rotten leaves, because then it'll let the plant put all the energy into new, healthy, eatable leaves. And you should make sure now that all of your beds are covered in a mulch of compost or something compostable. And I like to cover them with things like bags, as you would have seen in my last video actually, which helps to encourage the worms to mix all of the compost into your soil and helps to aerate and lighten up your soil without having to dig it. And if you do this on every bed with good compost and a good thing over the top, then you'll have very well mixed and nutritious compost or soil ready for your plants next year, which will be really helpful if you want to get a really big harvest next year. And something else that you can do to keep your garden looking really tidy is to sweep up any paved areas and to rake up any leaves on the grass and put it into your compost to add compost material, which is quite valuable at this time of year. So the bucket barrow, which is the wheelbarrow that I got and I won in a giveaway, so this is not an advert, also has a bucket that fits in it that's a handy little dustpan, so you can sweep things into it. So I'm just going to sweep up this area into a pile, and I'll collect it in that. There we go, and that's enough for me to be picked up. So I'll put that on the wheelbarrow now. And then I'll sweep the rest into the grass. And that was just some compost from a pot that had fallen off in the wind, and Alfie took the pot and the compost was just left there. So I'm going to take that and I'll probably put that in the compost or something like that now. and I've also got the kale to put in compost. And make sure that you get your composting game really good over winter to make sure that you've got enough compost to mulch your beds next spring. So what you can do for this is you can keep mixing your compost to get it to go quicker, and you can also keep adding good composting material to try and get as much as you can. And whilst there's not a huge amount of things that you can be harvesting apart from winter veg at this time of year, apples, we have stored these in crates in our garden to try and help stop them rot and get eaten, and they're off the ground as well. And these are great for cooking, and some people actually eat these ones, but I can't eat them because they're too bitter. But yeah, you can store your apples and you can still eat them now, and there may still be some on your tree, I don't know, it depends on where you live probably. And also, some other things that you can harvest are the last of your courgettes, the start of the brassica harvesting, and also if you've got autumn cropping raspberries, they are really good in season now. And I've still got some left on my raspberries, so I've just left them for the birds now. So something else that you can do at this time of year, and this is actually the last job that I'm going to mention today because there's not many in November, and this will probably be a really short video to be honest, is you can plant garlic. And this is where I'm going to be planting my garlic in the next few days, and I'll actually film a video about that to come out in the next couple of weeks. And the garlic that I'm growing, I can't remember the exact variety of it, but I bought it online from a seed company because, as many of you will know, in lots of places at the moment the garden centres aren't open because of the whole situation going on in the world. So you can still buy things online, and you can also, some garden centres do have online shops. So make sure you get your garlic planted, I got my onions planted not long ago, which I'll show you how they're doing now in a minute. But the garlic is good to go in now, and I know a lot of things will say to do it on the shortest day of the year, to harvest on the longest day of the year. And if you believe in that, then you can do that. But I'm planting now because garlic likes to have a month of really cold weather to snap it into life. So between now and the end of December, or start of December then, the garlic will get a cold period, because it is quite cold now, and it'll be able to get a kick start, and then it'll just grow and kick into life. And then when it starts getting warmer next year, it'll really do loads of growth, and then I'll harvest it probably May, June, maybe July next year. And that's the same with the onions. If you haven't got your onion sets in yet, then it's not really too late, you can still do it. But make sure you get them in before, I'd say, December. And if you put them in now, then you'll probably be harvesting them maybe start early to mid-June. So these are the onion sets that you saw me planting not long ago, actually, probably about a month or two ago. And as you can see, considering this area of my garden is a very dark and shaded spot of the garden, you can see how well they're doing. And hopefully it won't be too long before they start putting some proper good growth on. And I reckon these will be harvested maybe early to late May, so any time in May I reckon. But they could go into June. It depends on how warm our late winter and spring is, because that can change a lot. So I think they will be ready end of spring, maybe next year. And also we had our first frost this week, which means that a lot of things will be dying off. For example, the tomato that I've got growing outside, and also dahlias and things like that. So if you have got any dahlias outside, make sure you do cut them down to the ground and lift them up and store them in dry, clean compost, which will help to keep them warm over winter, and put them in a shed or a greenhouse where there's not going to be any mice eating them. And that'll do you good, unless you've got them planted at least a foot deep in the ground, which is very deep. But if you've got them planted that deep, apparently you don't need to lift them out every year. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, please go down below, hit the subscribe button and like this video, and let me know what you thought down in the comments section. So as you can see, it's very early in the morning as well. I got up to film this so that it can go up today as well, because I didn't really get a chance to film it before today. So please make sure you do go down and support my channel, as I just said. Check me out on all the other social media, Instagram and Facebook, and I'll hope to see you in my next video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.